ever since he got rickets, he's constantly getting nutmegged.
Fair enough.
Hello and welcome to the Phil Shy podcast. I'm Peter Bell, and with me as always, nice man in comedy, Paddy Linton.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest with us today, not only one of the funniest comedians in the UK, but a massive football fan. In fact, such a big football fan, he's more than willing to watch a game through a stranger's window with a bag of cans in his hand. Mr. Mark Nelson, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Very good.
I didn't know if that had spread.
Well, you have us on Facebook.
It's probably the proudest I've ever been in my life. 'Cause I don't remember doing it. Like we'd got it was the Champions League final that Liverpool get into.
Yeah.
And me and Kai Humphries were down doing the Comedian in Brighton, and we couldn't. I mean, we didn't think like Brighton. We're like, well, Brighton have got literally no fucking correlation with Liverpool whatsoever. So as soon as we're done at the gig, because it was an early show and a late show, we can go and watch the end of the game before the late show.
Yeah.
And every single pub was rammed, absolutely rammed, and we couldn't get in anywhere. So it ended up with us just wandering about, and we went into a shop to get cans, and we were just going to watch it in Kai's iPad. And then I found somebody that were watching it, and I watched it through their window. And then it was class because they realised that I was watching it, and then I thought they'd be raging, as most people would be. But the guy was like, "Do you want a can?" And then just passed it out the window to me. So
I love that he was willing to give you a can but no invite you in.
No, I know. He definitely wasn't having us in. No.
Well, that's actually, it's a good point. I was saying this to Paul earlier. I wasn't sure what team you supported. Don't know, you're from Dumfries, so is it Queen of the?
That's Queen of the South. Aye.
How's that?
It's boring. Like it doesn't really mean much now. Like at least we were in the Championship.
Aye.
Like there was a kind of glory period with Queens where we got to the year we got to the Scottish Cup final, and then qualified for Europe because of that. Beat Aberdeen in the semis, and then played Rangers in the final, and then they went to FC Njorsland in Denmark. Played them, but like Queens have just lost it the past. Like getting relegated to League One is bad, because I don't think we'll come back for that, to be honest.
There's not going to be a Wrexham style title.
I don't think there's any Hollywood stars that are sitting there waiting to like.
Do you sell a couple of Netflix specials?
I think Ben Affleck's going to be cutting down the high street at any point. So it's
imagine him in Dumfries, man. He'd probably so what first got you into football, mate? What was it?
I think just like any Scottish boy, it's literally. I mean, even like living in Dumfries, it's not got that kind of. It's not quite the borders in terms of like Brechin and Selkirk and all that kind of stuff. They're proper rugby, but my school was very much like 50-50 rugby football, and I played rugby at school as opposed to football because I was shite at football. Where I was quite a stocky guy, and so rugby was kind of. But I think largely like my dad and just hanging about with my dad and my wee brother, like that's what properly got me into football.
Aye. To be fair, I got told by my grandmother I had a rugby player's body, which was her polite way of saying, Pedro, you're a fat
Aye.
So obviously we're going to talk about Scotland because we've got the Euros coming up, and but before we get into what our expectations for this tournament are, I'd like to talk about the best memories we have of Scotland. There can't be that many to dive through for people of our age, but
oh no, there's a few, mate.
Okay, hit us with something.
Faddy's goal against France.
I knew that was going to be
straight away, straight off the bat.
And I know that's a particular favourite of yours because I think you post about it like on the anniversary.
Every year. Happy Faddy Day for all who celebrate. Like it's, I mean, it is. It's our Archie Gemmell. That's the like
defo.
It's a fucking wonderful goal.
Oh yeah, it's out this world.
And it's. I think I feel sorry for Gary Caldwell.
Oh yeah,
because he scored the winner
in the home game.
Yeah, and then the home game and. I would argue that we were shiter in that home game.
Somehow.
Like we were properly under the fucking caution that home game, and that was a miraculous 3 points.
Aye.
Whereas in France, we weren't that bad.
Aye.
Like we were an away team. We were soaking it up. But,
Aye.
it took a wonder goal, but
the
Caldwell
ball
never
for the
gets any kind of fucking recognition at all.
I thought you were just going to end that sentence with, I kind of feel sorry for Gary Caldwell.
That would have worked. Aye.
He's managing Exeter.
Is he?
Yeah, he's Exeter manager, I'm
Christ.
sure. It's going a bit as well as you would expect.
Jeez.
Aye, was at Thistle for a while, wasn't he?
Aye, he was,
Aye.
yeah. Didn't pan it well there either.
No, Thistle fans hated him.
Aye.
Absolutely hated him, man.
But that's that.
I didn't even know the Thistle fans were capable of hate.
Apathy is the most common one. But no, that campaign was quite frustrating though, because we actually played really well. We got 24 points.
Christian Panucci broke our hearts, mate.
Yeah, but what didn't he fit like so?
No, Hutton get filled in the
Aye,
byline.
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I'm not better about it. It's like,
Because I was like, is that a biased memory of mine that I'm sure he got like absolutely melted off the ball?
He got shooted in the back.
Yeah. And then the referee gave a free kick to them.
Yeah.
There's an abiding memory I have of that game because I went to it at Hampden and it was proper heartbreaking because that group, France, Italy and Ukraine,
Yeah.
they were fucking class and we
Yeah.
were by far and away outsiders.
Aye.
And played out our skin. And then there's a moment that you can still see on YouTube if you watch the highlights with Craig Gordon sitting in his goal just after the Italian goal goes in. And he looks like a wee boy that's just had everything destroyed. It looks like he's just been told Santa. Santa isn't he just real? Santa's like fucking called him a cunt. Like Santa hates him. He's so fucking gutted.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
And it's like that's one of the only games I've ever cried at.
Aye.
See,
That's fair.
That's the thing with all the best Scottish memories, they're very quickly followed up by something fucking dire.
Huge disappointment. Aye.
Like, because the first time I got properly into football was France '98, and see the joy I felt when was it John Collins scored that penalty against Brazil. I was like one of the happiest moments of my life, and then we got a second goal, but it was in the wrong fucking way.
I was like, did you?
Tom Boyd.
Did he not take out like Jim Leighton's fifth set of teeth as well at the same time?
How old would a Jim Leighton been as well back then?
He was in his 50s at that
point. But just that moment where we scored against Brazil in the opening game of a World Cup.
Getting in half time, 1-1 against Brazil in an open game was amazing.
Because they scored for a corner dead early.
Aye.
Cesar Sampaio, and then we get a penalty. Collins slots it in, and we're like, fuck, man, we've got a chance here.
Aye.
Unreal.
And then we put, who was it in the last game? Morocco. Like, we can definitely do something against him.
It didn't matter anyway because Norway had beat Brazil 2-1.
Yeah,
so it was all right. Craig Brown said that in his interview after. He's like, I had a feeling. as if I didn't try.
Just yelling for this game's fucked, boys. Go on.
Tools down, man.
I remember, like, I was mental as a kid, but that game was about to start. I opened the front door, yelled Scotland at some kids were playing in the street, closed it again, went back into my living room. Mum was like, why'd you do that? I don't really know.
I don't know. It's in my blood.
just mental, and I don't think it helped, obviously, but...
Is that the first tournament you remember, eh?
Yeah. 96, I would have been 5.
I remember 96 vividly.
To be honest, there's probably a lot of cross memories between the two, and I get confused at what game was at what tournament.
In fact, this top was Euro 96.
Aye.
Alan McCoy scored
That's McCoy stop that.
Aye, scored a screamer against Switzerland.
It's actually some of the best kits were the 96 ones that we had then. But
aye, the white one was a belter as well.
96 my favourite tournament I've seen Scotland in.
Aye, were you? Did you go to any of the games?
No, because I was 15.
Aye.
But it was because of the time. Like fucking, like Primal Scream did a Scotland song for that tournament, and Black Grape did a song for England, and it was just that kind of time of like everything was class. Like,
aye.
Like music was brilliant, films were brilliant, Trainspotting was a year. Like it was just fucking, and and the fact that it was in England. And I know it's a proper old man thing to say, but the weather was good. Like it was a proper scorching summer.
That's right.
And
policemen were taller. It was a bit
exactly. But the fact that it was in England, we were playing in England.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like
the hype was unreal, man.
It was all, and then the fact that we scraped a draw that we shouldn't have against the Dutch in the first game.
Was it 0-0? Aye.
It was 0-0, but we got away with a clear handball on the line. John Collins handled it in the line.
Oh, I don't remember that.
And I mean, we properly got away with it. And then you go, we're 1 win away from going through now. And we would have been one win away. Like, not the thing about Scotland is, like, we have found ways to not get through groups.
Creative ways.
Like, it's fucking incredible. It's genuinely incredible. Like most other tournaments, drawing the first game against Holland, narrowly getting beaten by England, and then beating Switzerland would have been enough. It would have been enough. But because of goal difference, because Kluivert scored with 10 minutes to go, and a fucking a fucking nutmeg through Seaman's leg, you're just kind of going like, it's designed that we won't ever get through that fucking group.
They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
That'll almost certainly get us through in this tournament.
It would,
win. Like, that would almost certainly
with the third placing as well.
I've actually just remembered something else about that McFadden game. Part de France, wasn't it? And whatever it is. There was a cunt with a chicken in the crowd. I don't know if that used to be a common thing at France games, obviously, because it was
a French guy who was just holding up a chicken.
Aye, like it's
like a live chicken.
Aye, it was a live chicken. Aye. It was flapping about.
I just had images of a guy with a chicken at Aston.
I know. Yeah, a French guy with a chicken at Aston, mate.
The best thing about that goal was Peter Martin's commentary. I listen to that when I'm having a bad day, when he just starts screaming, "Pick it out, Landreau."
Aye.
Unreal.
Landreau.
Pick it out.
Oh man, what else was I thinking about the 98? It wasn't just us. It wasn't just Scotland national team that was at the 98 World Cup. Lest we forget, Hugh Dallas was representing the referees.
Yep. Did he know did the World Cup final?
Surely
Am
not.
I tripping?
What?
Am I tripping?
Surely Kalina would have been.
Maybe.
Back then.
I don't know.
Oh, that was a great World Cup final, actually. Well, we're not here to talk about that.
I take it there's no Scottish refs going to the Euros, are there?
No, surely not.
No, they can't.
Like the worst
like
referees.
Who would be?
Willie Collum.
Willie Collum.
It can't. No, I mean, if there are, I would advise they don't do that because I can't believe I've asked you though about what highlights you have with Scotland, and no one's mentioned the international tournament that we won in 2006.
What tournament?
It was the Kirin Cup.
The Kirin Cup.
Was it the Kirin Cup? Oh,
who did we beat? New Zealand, was it?
It was such. Bulgaria was one of them.
Bulgaria.
So Japan are always in it. Bulgaria. Who was the other one in the Kirin Cup? Fuck me, I can't remember.
I think it was New Zealand.
Was that the tournament that Faddy nearly missed a plane?
I think so.
Or something like that. And Bertie Votes. Was Bertie Votes the manager?
Bertie Votes.
Aye.
Oh no. Would it have been?
Was it
been
Smith?
McLeish's first run at that point in time? No, Bertie Votes. It would have been Bertie Votes 2006. It must have been Bertie Votes. Aye, yeah.
Christian.
Christian.
Christian. Fucking cheats.
To contextualise the Kirin Cup, for those who don't know what it is, right? There was a tournament of the Kirin Cup where all three teams won because all games ended in a 0-0 draw.
That's incredible.
What a futile
That is
waste of
incredible,
time that
man.
was. Right, okay. It's got to be a bit more interesting. Who's the best Scottish footballer you've ever seen?
The best footballer I've ever is this my opinion or who I've seen in the flesh?
So no, you don't need to have seen him. You can give us both actually, but you don't need to have seen him in the flesh. But if you can give us both if you want it.
Right, the best of all time, I would probably say. I'd probably say Strachan.
Really?
Actually, aye.
I was not expecting that.
I think Strachan's a massively underrated
Oh, aye.
footballer. I know Dalglish and Dennis Law will get the plaudits. But I think Strachan was a cracking player.
Aye.
The best I've seen. I mean, I'm tempted to say McFadden because he's the only player we've had even since that could actually. He's the only player we've had that kind of Zidane type, like almost Bellingham type player where they could create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like they could like McFadden. There's games where McFadden hasn't even been in the game, and suddenly, like a Lithuania game at Hampden, where suddenly he just breaks through midfield and takes it around 3 players and scores.
Aye.
So I think probably McFadden.
That would have been the same Euro qualifiers.
Yeah, it was.
Aye.
So live, I'd probably say McFadden, and I mean. But for Scotland, like, he was never... He was one of those players, and there's a couple of Scotland players that are like this, that never really have huge amount of form for their clubs.
Yeah.
Aye.
But just properly turn it on.
Aye.
For Scotland.
Scott McTominay.
Aye.
Just banging goals in left, right and centre.
Aye.
And can't even get a start at Man U most weeks.
Aye.
I think that's got a lot to do. Obviously, we're not here to talk about Man U, but they don't use him properly.
Aye.
And that's a big part of it. And obviously, at Scotland, we use him more as a forward going player a lot of the time. Which
Used
is
him
what
as a
he
centre
trained
back for a while.
Aye, we did, but that was just through having no other fucking options available to him. But it's weird to hear that, because James McFadden would be the name that would automatically jump to my head. But then I think about it a bit more and go, well, surely John McGinn is a better footballer than James McFadden. Like, surely he is a better footballer than him. And Andy Robertson must be a better footballer.
Better footballers. I don't think they're as creative.
No, that is true. And the thing is, we were so reliant on McFadden back then. Like, because if he didn't create something, like 9 out of 10 times,
if he was injured,
we were
fucked.
relying on someone like Gary Caldwell to get something from a corner, and that wasn't always a reliable plan, as it turned out. Who would you go for?
Chris Iwilamo, mate, 100%. No, Paul McStay, mate. He didn't get. I don't think he ever played at a big tournament, but he was unreal, man. Like, just solid. You don't really have box to box midfielders anymore.
No,
but he was the best, man. Like, just done everything flawlessly, man.
That's what a lot of my Celtic family used to say about Paul McStay, that he was just before my time. Really,
I saw him at the tail end of his career,
and they were all like, "Oh, you should have seen him when he was playing live."
And I've got great memories of Pat Nevin, like putting in a few amazing performances when I was dead young. Scored a diving header against San Marino. It was a screamer.
All my Pat Nevin knowledge comes from watching the Masters football, so that's a slight difference in generation. All time though, I mean, I know I'm going to be biased with this, but it's got to be Jimmy Johnston. I mean, I go back and watch videos of him, and the way my granddad talked about him, he's not even a Celtic fan, he's a Partick Thistle fan, and he still maintains that despite Messi and Ronaldo and all these people, he's still like, no, Jimmy was the best I've ever seen. Jimmy was just a bit different, but
he had the same thing as Strachan as well, where you were allowed to just boot wingers as hard as you could.
Didn't he get lost before a Scotland game? Didn't he get lost at sea in a pedal or something like that off the coast of Largs?
Aye.
And then
there is something that's one of those kind of tales that are,
I'm sure I can't remember what his manager was at the time, and then he ended up just playing a blinder the next game. You're just like, can't imagine any footballers doing that now, can you?
Well, it was Gary Mackay-Stephen went down the Kelvin in a dinghy or something. It's not quite the same, is it? It's not going to really live on in lore.
It's going to be. I was going to say it's more something like you can maybe see Balotelli doing, not Gary Mackay-Stephen.
There's a story about because the radio show I do, we had Machiavelli on, and I was asking him about loads of shit when he was away in Scotland. So he was, I think he was at Villa. I think he was at Villa during the 86 World Cup. In the 86 World Cup when Ferguson was a manager. And he got taken over. He was going to be in the squad, and he missed the squad because they went over. So 86 was Mexico, and as kind of climate training, they were taken over to Florida. And they were playing like kind of bounce games. They were going to play the American national team, a couple of American local teams and stuff. and they went out and played. I think it might have been like Argentina or something as a friendly. And while they were after the game, Rod Stewart came into the changing rooms, and he was like kind of going to. He was like, I'm having a party up at my villa. Like there's going to be a couple of Miss Worlds there. And to McAvenny's already going, fucking like. But Ferguson had put in like this fucking absolutely no, like there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
Like absolutely nothing happening here at all. And Archie Knox was his number 2.
Yeah.
And they were like, right, to bed, training tomorrow. We need to get our fucking fitness up for this kind of climate. And I can't remember who it was, but McAvenny and some other player were sneaking out of their room, and as they were coming out, they saw Archie Knox coming out of his room because he was going to get pissed at the bar, and they basically made an agreement that neither of them would say anything about the other one. And then McAvenny just never turned up for about 3 days. He just went to Rod Stewart's villa and just shagged models for 3 days, and that's why he missed the World Cup. And you're like,
but
and you're kind of going, was it worth it? And he goes, fuck, of course it was worth it. Like, what?
We were never going to win a World Cup.
Like, what?
That's textbook McAvenny.
That's where all the lore comes from.
I'm trying to think what else we want to talk about before we get into this. Obviously, I mentioned that kit. What's your favourite Scotland kit from history?
I've also got the '86 World Cup one. That's a nice one. It's just like simple with the wee white bit and the cuffs here.
Is that the one they tried to replicate recently, where they just did the really toned down? There wasn't even a sponsor or anything. Well, there's
the 150th anniversary one.
I really liked that. It was smart. It's plain, but it looks smart. Or the sort of blue Ajax-y, like, you know, we did that kind of Ajax away one not 2-3 years ago.
I remember.
I quite like that, but I think that was about the same time. What about yourself?
I love the Bumblebee away kit, the kind of 90 white and yellow stripes.
Yeah.
Aye.
There was a couple of times we've had decent yellow ones, but I think they caused a bit of a ruckus sometimes for bearing too much resemblance to certain teams' kits on occasion.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I know, it's such a shock. You know?
Aye.
But should we just get into the actual tournament that's coming up ahead? So we've got Hungary, Switzerland and Germany. What do we think of that?
We just, for me, like, just hope that Germany tank everybody.
Really?
Like that. And
do you think that?
Aye, like that's the way I've got it in my head. And then, like, we've essentially got 2 games, and it's against Hungary and Switzerland. I think Switzerland are more beatable, but Hungary are one of these teams that they could lose all 3 games, or they could get to the quarterfinals. You just don't know, man. So that's the way I'm thinking with that draw.
I thought when it was drawn, and I think everyone would have thought Germany were the best of the top seeds to get.
Yeah.
Especially with that kind of, with that first game, the fact that it's the very first game. Because if you look back at any World Cup or any Euros, the host nation very, very rarely win the first game convincingly, and they drop a lot of points because of that pressure. And Germany will obviously want to get off to a cracking start, so it's probably the best time to get.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in a group with Germany, the first game is the best time to get them.
Aye.
But then, I would have said that at that time, and then Germany since then have become fucking class through the friendlies. So, but I don't know a huge amount about Switzerland and Hungary. They're just like, as I imagine we are.
Yeah.
They're unknown. Like, it's
the thing is with Switzerland and Hungary, and I said this to you at the time, they are 2 teams that are just good enough that they could beat us.
Aye.
But they're not too good that it will still be slightly embarrassing, and 2, we're not going to G ourselves up for playing against them. And the thing with Germany is, they've been shite at international tournaments for a while now, but that just means they're due in my head. Like, it's like, you know, in the 90s and 20s and 30s, Germany, everything was going a bit shite, but you're like, watch out, they'll be back. That's how I feel about Germany now. And They've got players like Kai Havertz, who's somehow got good.
Yeah.
They've still got Neuer and Kimmich and Gundogan and Musiala. Like,
Tony Kroos is last.
they're nowhere near what they used to be, but there's still a hell of a lot of
I
players.
think
in that
30s
team
Germany, they were definitely considering coming back.
yeah. They were fighting about making a comeback. That was what happened. Well, last time they went out in the group stages, my mate was saying to me, I said to him, you know, the last time this happened was like 1936. And he went, my God, they didn't handle that well. But yeah, Germany frightened me. And you think about Switzerland and you go, oh, well, you don't really know much about them. Then you think, oh, Akanji, who plays for Man City. Xhaka, who's just gone a season unbeaten. They've got a few decent players, and Hungary's the same. I don't know about it.
I know.
On paper, like, you look at Switzerland, Hungary, and you think they are not notably better than Norway, who we beat and drew with. So there's no good reason to be afraid of them. But I think it's just years of hurt that I'm like, I just can't.
Just preparing for the worst. Man.
You know, I don't like to go into tournaments with optimism anymore, especially when you look at the last one. Czech Republic, was it?
Aye.
I mean, obviously
Smashes.
through a fucking fluke of a goal, but what was it? Patrick Schick scored that like ridiculous.
For halfway.
Aye, but I just don't know.
I'd like to think that the idea of us being at it before will create a kind of different mindset. Like the fact that I think Clark will certainly have learned a lot for being at the last tournament, because I think a lot of that was to do with at the Swiss game at the start of the last Euros was so fucking demoralising, because it never really felt like we gave it a go, and it felt like we kind of shot ourselves.
Aye.
And we were overawed by the occasion. Whereas I don't think he'll have that this time.
Yeah.
And England was a kind of no-lose situation, and that's why I think that's when Scotland are at their best.
Aye.
When we can just go out and we outplayed England that night.
That's right.
And then Croatia were just better than us. That's just a fact. Whereas this time, I hope they go out with that. And you remember you've got another, 2 years on from that, or 3 years even. And, you know, you've got Andy Robertson with a hell of a lot more experience, McGinn with a hell of a lot more experience.
Yeah.
A lot of the squad were at the last Euros as well, which helps.
Aye.
I mean, even Gilmore, for fuck's sake, was at the last. And, you know what I mean, the amount of caps he's got since then is just...
I think he could be a big player in this.
Aye.
The problem is, despite being 3 years later, we still don't have a fucking goal scorer in the team. Like, do we think Lauren Shanklin can step up on the big stage, or is that just too much of a hope?
Nah, like, I don't think so.
Straight up, no.
I don't think so.
Well, who else have we got? Like, because Che Adams,
I like Adams.
He can
Adams
run,
plays like he gets involved in the game, and then Dykes gives you an option for like just pumping long balls at him.
I think Adams has played himself into starting.
Yeah.
Aye.
The past 6 weeks or so. I think before that, when Shanklin went through his massive patch of scoring every game, it would be hard to not start Shanklin up front.
Aye.
But I think Adams, now that he's started scoring goals, and I think Adams makes more sense against Germany in particular, because he just works harder.
Aye,
and
exactly.
he chases everything, and
their back line is aging. Like, it's not full of young players. So someone with a bit of pace might be more useful in that position. I think our goals are going to come from either set pieces or McTominay or McGinn.
Aye.
That's what we're relying upon really for it. I don't think we can rely on Lyndon Dykes or Che Adams really, or James Forrest, because he's found the scoring bits.
I know.
Again, man.
If he plays, he'll probably have to play right wing back though. We don't use wingers.
Yeah,
he's the only winger in the squad. Only one winger.
What do we think of the squad selection? Is there any changes you would have made, or anyone you're surprised is missing out?
No, I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. Like, usually I'd be like, fuck God, there's a couple of players missing, but I think it's the best we've got.
I'm quite happy with it as well. I think two that need to go. One of the keepers will be Liam Kelly, and then I would reckon Ryan Jack.
He's not played.
Largely because he's not played, and which will be harsh, but he's not played, and he is carrying an injury, and it it's the area we're no really
Short of,
needing.
See,
Aye.
I don't understand this, like, announcing the squad and then taking 2 out. Why don't you have just 2 standbys so that everybody's kind of buzzing to be there? Because
Two's weird.
it's so weird, like.
Aye.
Like, why not just have 2 reserves or whatever?
Because even
I don't know
like,
why they do you know what I mean? And
like
if somebody-
Southgate took 33. Do you know what I mean? But at least then you're dropping a wad of players.
Aye.
So it
Aye.
doesn't feel like, because Kelly must know he's on the chopping block anyway.
Yeah.
Aye.
But one guy, one outfield player, you know, I mean, it's a shitey thing to do to somebody. Whereas if you're a Southgate and you're dropping 6 guys, you go, well, that's...
Aye, at least there's a few years.
Aye.
Especially because, I mean, he must know the only reason he's in that squad is because Ferguson's been ruled out of it.
Aye.
Like, that is such a
But then
depressing.
that's but I don't know how you would, like, how does Ralston feel knowing that? Does that motivate him in terms of the fact that he knows that if Patterson and Hickey were available, there's
Aye.
no chance he'd be anywhere near that squad?
Yeah.
Aye.
Does he think this is my chance? Or, do you know, it's a weird kind of psyche to get into.
Yeah. I mean, like, what was it? Not last season, the season before. Ralston was in decent form and, like, he actually got into the squad and merit, but he's really not played enough this year to
Nah, never
justify it. It is just a matter of injuries. And that's a big problem for us as well. Well, I don't know if we don't look far enough. Obviously, we don't play with wingers, and that worries me that we don't have a plan B because we've only got one winger in the squad. So if we do want to change something up, if we need to go attacking and try and get a goal, we've got no option to do that. But like you've got players like Ryan Gauld, who apparently is doing really well in America right now. Obviously, never lived up to his potential. Players like him and what was it, Ollie Burke? Who was
Oh,
once the
remember Oliver
record
Buck?
Scottish.
He was going to be the best.
transfer.
Aye.
That's an interesting question, actually. Are there any other players like that everybody's been going, oh my God, this guy's going to be brilliant, and he's just...
Ian Jess. he's the best Scotland player that never made it. Like,
Yeah. In fact, that's what I was looking at, that 2006 squad, and I think there was someone like Stephen Pearson was in it, and I was like, do you know what? I'm quite happy with the squad now.
Aye.
It's a bit better than it was.
Who was
back
it
then.
was telling me? It was a guy telling me the other day that he looked back at the Euro '92 squad, and right, who do you think was the keeper in Euro '92?
Leighton, no.
It was Leighton,
Aye.
right? Who do you think the reserve keeper was in the squad?
Was Gorham playing back then?
He
That's a
was,
good
but he
shout.
wasn't the reserve keeper.
You know?
I mean, I would have been one, I should stress, so it might be a bit before my time.
Gorham would have been the first shout, aye. Who is it?
Nicky Walker
Oh, Nicky
played
Walker.
for Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
right? And you're going, fucking hell, man. We're stressing about
He had
a
some heat of
right
hair
back
on him.
that plays for Celtic, and you're kind of going, do you know what I mean? It's
Aye. No, that is a very good point. I was trying to think if there's anyone from that squad of that time, like the Faddy game, that I'd bring into this squad, and there probably isn't really, other than a young Scott Brown, maybe, just because he would
I
have
think
been
Scott,
useful.
aye. A Scott Brown that plays at this kind of level,
Aye.
you would definitely have in.
Or actually Alan Hutton, because we are woefully short of right back. So Alan Hutton,
He
would
was
probably-
unreal for a few years, man.
Aye, I mean he ended up playing at Tottenham, not Tottenham as they are now, obviously, but still, I
Aye.
think he played Champions League for Tottenham a couple of times. So he wasn't exactly shy. He was, you know, he had something about him. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about the group. What do we expect? Okay, for line up against Germany or the result against Germany. What are we expecting? What are we hoping for?
Enton.
Aye.
Enton.
Well, like
a
you
point.
said, it's a good time to play them.
Aye.
Do you think a point's the best we can hope for? Or do you think we can maybe?
I don't
never
think
know.
I don't think a point's the best we can hope for at all. I think it's if I mean, like, this is the first campaign where we've had the last two games we can just coast it.
Aye.
And we've never had that. We've literally, it's
Aye.
always been the last two games we need something, or at worst we're relying on somebody else to do something.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, beating Germany. If you sneak a win against Germany in the first game, and it's not inconceivable because, like I say, it's the first game. they are in front of their home fans. There's so many. I mean, fucking, like, I remember was it in 1990 World Cup where Argentina were playing Nigeria, and they fucked it. And
France against Senegal.
Aye, you know what I mean? Like, there's precedence for this.
Aye.
So it's if we won that, to know that all it takes is now a draw against either Switzerland or Hungary, fucking hell, the country would be.
To be fair, a win, 3 points alone might actually get you
Exactly,
through.
I know.
And honestly, just to see us win a game at a Euros, obviously I'd be disappointed if we went on and lost the next two. But see that one day, that one party after that Germany game, if we managed to win that, we fucking must
that weekend will be amazing.
Who would you play, like, starting lineup for Germany?
The keeper, who is it? A Gun? It's got to be Gun. Surely,
Gun keeper, aye.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who we've got fit. Who will be fit for the right back position? Is it Hickey's not in the squad, is he?
No, Hickey and Patterson are definitely out.
I think it'll probably not be Forrest for the Germany game.
Why not throw Robertson at left wing back and play Tierney at right wing back and play Tierney at left back?
I don't think that, because
I like the both of them, like Tierney behind Robertson. I like that.
It takes away a lot of the attacking. And it ruins that three at the back as well, because then you've got somebody to cover for at left, and there's nobody.
So Hendry will definitely be one of the centre backs.
Yeah.
Aye, I would say Hendry, Porteous,
definitely.
and probably McKenna.
Aye.
I don't think Hanley will be fit.
It doesn't fill me with hope. But
Hanley's still gone.
because it'll be Hendry, Porteous, and it'll be Tierney presumably playing left
maybe.
centre.
Of course, of course.
Aye, so it'll be Tierney. Aye, McKenna won't start, which makes me feel a little bit better.
Aye, Tierney left centre back, and then Robertson left.
And then I would say Ralston.
Aye, because he can defend.
Aye.
I'd probably start Forrest for the other two games where you're going to be looking to make chances, but against Germany you're going to be
you don't want the Germany left side coming at James Forrest.
No,
definitely. You don't want Kimmich coming at Forrest.
No, even when he was a younger man, you probably still wouldn't want that. Now he's 30, 33. I don't know why I was asking. He's the same age as me. No, I wouldn't want that. Midfield, it kind of makes itself, doesn't it? If they're all fit, it's McGinn, McTominay, Gilmore, and then it depends where you position him, because he almost plays 4 central midfielders. So you'd have presumably Callum McGregor and Gilmore further back, and then McGinn and McTominay slightly further forward.
I think it's they two that play behind the striker. That's why they get all the goals.
And then
there's that. But then there's the question of the fact that Christie's been class.
Yeah, that's
playing
a good point,
as a holding midfielder for Bournemouth all season.
Yeah.
You've had a great season as well.
That's a very good point. He's been really, really good.
He might start.
Because anytime Clark plays Christie, for some reason he plays him up front on the right. And you're going, he doesn't play there anymore. He's no.
He's still viewing him as like the player he was at Celtic and Aberdeen before that.
Inverness.
And he's not been that player for a while. It's just because he got battered when he played there in the Premier League, like a lot. But now he's the one dishing out the. I mean, that tackle in Saka, let's not forget, he's clearly had the Euros in mind when he went for that one. That was wild.
But I agree with you. I would say the big four: McGinn, McTominay, McGregor, and Gilmore in the middle.
That's such a, I know they're not, I'm not going to say that's a world class, but see, for Scotland, that's good.
That is good
midfield.
I mean, that's getting me excited for the Germany game. I'm like, do you know what?
We're going to pass it round them.
I know.
We'll avenge Brazil for that 7-1. Fuck it, bring him on.
But the fact that we've got the depth to bring players like Forrest and Christie, even Dykes off the bench, that's we've never had that before.
It's because again we've raided countries for their best best players that don't get into their national squad, like Lyndon Dykes and Shea Adams. What player are you looking forward to seeing most at the tournament, both from Scotland's point of view and then just generally at the rest of the tournament?
I'm looking forward to seeing Gilmore. I think this could be a proper the idea of Billy Gilmore having Tony Cruz in his fucking back pocket is just It would be class, and
Yeah.
I think it is. It could be the absolute making. I mean, obviously, you've got like if McTominay keeps up that goal scoring form,
Yeah.
then it will be amazing.
Yeah.
And then McGinn as well. But Gilmore, I'm very looking forward to outside of the tournament. I think it. I mean, this will be Ronaldo's last ever Euros.
Probably.
I imagine.
Is he? I've not seen the Portugal squad. Is he in it?
He's in it.
Yeah, he
He's
must be,
definitely in it. Aye.
Has to be. He's practically the
so-
manager at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Well, who's the Roberto Martinez? He might as well be the manager.
Aye.
Like, well, that's the other thing.
Remember
like-
the Euros where he was like, when he got injured in the
Aye.
final, and he was in front of the manager on the touchline screaming at everybody.
Well, see with Martinez being the Portugal manager, right? And now, obviously, today, Company's been announced as the new Bayern Munich manager. Vince
wild.
Kompany. So people just seem to fall up the way in football, man. Like proper
Aye.
rewarding mediocrity. I don't know how Martinez got that job,
Aye.
man. It's wild. But McGilmore for me, like see the
This could be-
England game at the Euros last year, he was outstanding.
Aye.
And I just think he's one of the most naturally talented footballers Scotland's produced in a very long time.
This could be the tournament that gets him like a move to a massive club.
The
Like, I know
problem
he's
is the
playing-
last time he did that, it didn't go so well
Aye.
for him. But I think he's in a good place with Brighton. They
Aye.
play the right kind of football to develop his talent properly, and if they're going to be challenging to get into Europe every season,
Depends who
Why
comes
go
to
somewhere
Brighton.
else?
That's the.
that is a
Aye.
big point.
Aye.
Yeah, they might be in. They kind of petered out at the end of the season. To take my own name in vain, I know you like to say that. That's a problem. That's a problem. Like I felt so happy and ecstatic like during the qualifying campaign, and then just at the end of it, and since then in the friendlies, we've been absolute dross. Like
That's the time to be dross when it's
Aye.
no competitive anywhere.
Maybe we're just a tournament team.
That's it. That's
I
it.
don't think that's ever been said about
Fuck
Scotland.
these friendlies.
They,
Oh, what about yourself? Who you?
hey, I'm looking forward to seeing wee Kvaradona for
Oh, aye, Georgia.
Because we think we couldn't get a Scotland ticket for Love Nor Money, but we got a ticket for Turkey, Georgia at Dortmund.
Oh, did you? Aye.
Aye, so we're in the big yellow wall, like
Oh,
halfway
nice.
up it. So we're buzzing for that.
I'm trying to think of the geographical locations because something in my head goes, "Oh, that could be a bit heated." That just my odd.
Aye.
just try to think.
Yeah, there's always like mad history between like European nations.
It's like when Albania and Switzerland played each other, and you're just like, I didn't realise you guys hated each other,
Aye.
but apparently I should have. But
I've got a ticket for Israel Palestine. Fucking.
just showed up there like, I wish we spilled the beef, guys. Come on. He's brilliant. So that he
I'm
could
excited
be,
to see him because I've
he's
not
could be
seen him
very
play. So.
interesting. I'm trying. It's too obvious to go for some of the bigger names, but like 'cause Mbappe's obviously going to be brilliant. Like
Nah.
he'll probably end up player of the tournament and person that
Golden
wins it
boot,
for France. I don't want to see England do well, but after the season Foden's had, I'm quite looking forward to see if he can transfer that onto the big stage. And Cole Palmer.
Nah, let's stay away from that. Good night.
It's fucking. See when you look at the England squad.
Scary.
See when you see, like when it's got like the different divisions between like keepers,
Aye.
defenders, midfielders, and then you look and they've got like 9 strikers, and you're like,
Aye.
fucking hell, man, this is insane. Like,
None of them have Scottish grandparents.
it's
Like,
unbelievable the strike force they've got.
I know, aye.
it is. It's utterly terrifying, and we can't stay away from it that long. Kai's coming out to talk about it next
I know,
week.
aye.
mate,
Is it?
so-
Aye.
He's going to be buzzing, man. He's going to be buzzing.
Well, not after Man U stole your European spot, mate.
I know, but
You know. So
no, I did not expect that, man. I forgot about that.
I'm sorry for bringing it up.
I was watching a different game in the weekend.
Aye, yeah,
Where are
it's
you? So where are you staying during the?
We're going to Dusseldorf, and then we're going to get the train down to like the Switzerland game on the Wednesday. We're going to get the train. It's like an hour away in Cologne,
Aye.
and then thingy we'll get the train through for the Turkey Georgia game. I don't know what day that is.
Are you just watching the Switzerland game in the fan zone or a pub or
We're
something?
just going to. I'm going to go. My wee cousin's got a ticket. I'm going to go and try and double up and get through.
Aye.
Aye.
May as well. Like, what are
Oh,
you going to do?
aye,
Tell me
aye.
to fuck off.
Aye.
That's it.
To be fair, the fan zone will be class though.
Aye.
Like Alan Davis was talking about, not to me, I should add on QI, was talking about the Scottish fans at the France 98 tournament. And he said that in the city where they were in, I think it was Bordeaux or Marseille we were based, that the Scotland fans in the first 3 days of that tournament drank more beer than that entire city drinks in a year. And I was like,
Yes.
you're proud to be fucking Scottish.
So proud, man. I'm just buzzing. The 6 years gone. We've got an Airbnb. We booked it after the Spain game.
Oh,
We
did
won
you?
at home,
Aye.
We're like, fuck it. We're like, if we qualify, we're gone. If we don't, we're still gone. Who gives
Aye.
a fuck?
That was some dumb.
But aye, it was right after the first game.
That was
Beat
'cause-
Spain. We're like, we're doing it.
That was during the comedy festival as well.
Yeah.
It was, aye.
So I think me, Jack, and Kyle just got off stage, and the game was happening. Like, do you know McCool's?
Aye.
So like,
aye.
there's a big long room, and then there's the bar in there. So we could just hear cheering like throughout our show. And got off stage. We were 1-0 up, I think, when we got in there. Scored
Aye.
the second goal, and I was
Aye.
just like, I know this is a fucking school night, but let's get tons of
Aye.
boys.
See
Like,
games like that when you're like winning 1-0, you're usually like hanging on, but we
Aye.
score another, and you're like,
Aye,
fuck, we're
it's
2-0
unreal.
up.
Unreal.
2-0 up.
and it was so delicious to see how pissed off Rodri was after it, man. Like, he's so bitter, and it's
He's a shite bag in every game. Though. Like, he's that proper. He was doing that after the fucking cup final as well. Like,
Aye.
just pisses his pants every
Aye.
time. That
to be fair, he is one of, if not the best midfielder in the world right
Aye,
now.
still,
Like,
but
you're a rat.
You're a
Rodri.
hopefully we get him in the knockouts.
Aye, fuck it, man. No.
Fuck it.
Like,
We know we can beat them.
How far do you think we could go in this? Like, realistically, I know, like, you are quite an optimistic Scotland fan. I seem to recall seeing you on was it Breaking the News, where you were giving it quite big licks about
that was before the recent friendlies. I think this is the best chance we've had for a long, long time to get out of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But largely because of the way the tournament works now. But even if the tournament wasn't like that, I can't think of, like, if you were offered that draw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you would take it.
Yeah.
And there is so little between, I think, us, Switzerland, and Hungary that I don't think there's any reason. I think it'll all come down to largely luck,
Yeah.
but also a mentality. And I don't see any reason why we can't. As for after that, who the fuck knows,
Yeah.
man? I mean, Wales would never.
Yeah, that's true.
The Euros where they got right the way through. I don't think they'd have only ever been dreaming of getting out of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just don't know what will happen in a one-off game. So
Yeah.
take it.
Aye.
If we get out of the group, I'll be
Ecstatic.
like,
Aye.
I'll be over at the Hungary game, and if we get out of the group, then that'll be
Aye.
the best feeling I've ever had watching
Yeah.
Scotland.
Aye.
I'm
by
glad you added
far.
that. I was about to say you've got 2 kids, man.
Aye, no, that's the goal, innit? Like just
Just
to
get out
see,
of the group,
because it's
yeah.
never happened before.
Aye.
Like just to see Scotland in a knockout game, regardless who we get. If we get France, get fucked out. Like,
Aye.
gives a fuck. Like we'll go and give it a go. But aye, to get out of the group, that's
And I
it's
think
just
this,
doable.
I think this group of players deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They deserve to be the ones that, because I think this is the most talented we've had,
aye.
certainly since I've been watching Scotland in terms of where they're playing. And
And the fact they got us to 2 tournaments,
Aye.
which almost I can't recall.
Qualifying
last
at a
time they
group
did that.
with both Norway and Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With 2 games to go is incredible.
Aye,
like,
aye, absolutely.
For us, that's unheard of, man.
I'm exactly the same as you. I'll totally take getting out of the group. And obviously, you see with Wales, the differences with them is, like, obviously we've got really good players in like Tierney and Robertson and all that, but they had a really good goal scorer.
yeah,
And
aye.
that's the problem that we don't have. But you know, like you say, you never
it's
know.
the frustration that Scotland have had since, I'd probably say since McCoist,
Aye,
to be
yeah.
honest, that we've never had that one player who could guarantee at least a goal every second game.
Aye.
And I think if we'd had that, then a lot more previous squads would have qualified for tournaments.
Aye.
Because that's what we've always lacked, is just somebody that can put the ball in the net.
It's just such a hard thing to explain why we just don't produce them though. Suppose that all the good ones end up going down to England, going into their academies and ending up declaring for another country.
Yeah.
So, on that cheery note, in fact, before we go, because we do ask every other guest this, who's the greatest footballer of all time?
Maradona,
Oh,
by far.
that is the first time we've had a Maradona.
Really?
Maradona,
the
aye.
last 2 people said Messi. Yeah.
I would say, my wee boys asked me this as well, and I would always say I think Maradona's beyond a genius.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's hard to. it's always that, it's that kind of thing that folk have with boxers as well,
Yeah.
where you go, would Tyson be able to match up to Tyson Fury now, or Klitschko and all that kind of stuff? And you don't know, because the game's totally different.
Aye.
But I think if you were to take it in pure talent, like genuine, given it birth talent, I would say Maradona.
Yeah.
Easily the best in the world.
I'd take that answer over Ronaldo anyway. I'll be alright with it. And none of the other players that have ever been mentioned have taken cocaine on a football pitch in front
Which,
of
I mean,
the world.
Mate, aye.
I mean,
What
to
a
do
hero.
what he did, shinged off his fucking face, like.
Legend.
And I felt like it was a friendly game. I think it was
Yeah.
like USA versus the rest of the world, and the guy's chasing him after scoring the goal, trying to give him
Did he get banned for like testing positive for cocaine at the
Aye.
'94 World Cup?
Why did you need to test
scored,
him?
He scored a goal and he grabbed the camera and he's like, yeah, and the veins are coming out his
Do you remember
neck.
that? Was it the World Cup where he was up on one of the gantries and like the VIP, and he was banging his fists in the glass, and then there was just white residue, like white palm prints everywhere, and you're like, oh, this guy's off his fucking
I'm
face.
sure it was against Nigeria, because Paddy Power did like a series of photos like in the style of Homer Simpson's Night Out. It's just different images of him during that game. The last one's he's just like that. It's absolutely
Oh,
there you go.
When he was managing Argentina, he was taking gear on the bench as well.
obviously.
Like people would be holding up towels.
You're not drug testing a manager, are you?
Oh, mate.
A touching tribute to one of the greatest footballers of all time.
Hero.
Maradona treats football tournaments the same way I treat music festivals. I'm gonna do my job, fucking geared at my head, right?
I'm sure when he was manager as well, he didn't get up till like noon, because he was like, I don't need to be there for training so long as the players. What a man. What a man. Well, Mark, thanks for coming on. It's been,
Yes,
it's
thank
been
That's
you
my
awesome.
pleasure, boys. Aye.
And hopefully we can do what we all expect and get out of the group.
Yes.
So on that note, it's goodbye from all us. Goodbye from Patrick.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Mark.
Cheers.
And goodbye from me. Stay fresh, cheese bags.